I'm so excited to talk to you guys about Peerless Dad. It's one of my favourite manhwas of all time. Everything about it is awesome. The story, the martial arts, the drawing, the characters, the world the authors created, and just the plot. The idea of like a single father raising his 3 kids in the martial arts world. So this week I'll be telling you why you should read Peerless Dad. Anyway, my name's Ibraheem and I recommend a different story every week. The medium doesn't really matter. I've already done 2 movies. I'm doing a manhwa/webtoon this week, and next week I'm planning to recommend a game. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, it really helps out. And if you know somebody who'd enjoy this content, make sure to share it with them and help grow the community. If you've never read a webtoon before, don't worry. All you need to do really is just Google the name and you'll find a place where you can read it. Peerless Dad is an amazing manhwa about an ex-mercenary called Jang, who now has to enter the martial arts world to support his family as a single father after his wife died giving birth to triplets. The story has a really unique and genuine feeling to it. A single father raising kids is usually, well, in the Western world at least, it's usually only done as like a stereotype of a guy who like middle-aged ladies go crazy over. My sister mentioned something about bad mums. I've never watched it. Usually stories that focus on single parents only really show the perspective of mothers and not fathers, and even when they do have single dads in there, they're really side characters, like in Bad Genius where it's on her and she's got a single dad, but it's not really about him. He's just a reason for why she ended up the way she is. I've seen it in Chichikogusa, which is a really cool manga. I've also seen it in Train to Busan and the new God of War game, but I haven't really seen it anywhere else. There are probably more stories of siblings raising each other than single fathers raising kids. Anyway, back to point. I think the perspective of a single father and his struggles are different to a single mother. While it might seem the same, with a mother the problem is stereotypically going to be like safety, security, providing. But with a father, it's more about the emotional side to it, because guys are a bit not empathetic and can't really understand. And even if the love's there, you know, they might want what's best for them, but they won't understand how to talk about it with the kids, and also actually what to do to help raise them, because they just don't understand them. So it's kind of a lot more interesting watching like a clueless dude try to raise 3 kids on his own. You know, even if he has the means to raise them, it's completely different to a mother who might understand the kids, who has a tough time like looking after the kids or providing for them. You know, one example of this in the story is how he wants them to grow up and be like scholars or just have regular jobs where they're educated, but they look up to their dad and want to be martial artists like him. And on the topic of martial arts, it is genuinely one of the best martial arts stories I've ever seen, because it's so unique, and it also reminds me of like old school Dragon Ball, where they didn't have like power levels and energy attack stuff. It was more rooted in martial arts, stuff like the breaker and baki, while they're like supernatural in a sense, and they have like mythical elements of martial arts, which I absolutely love. The others that kind of focus about martial arts but go into energy battles, they kind of veer away from like the true soul of martial arts and go into like hacking strength and having this soul pill and it'll make you this much stronger, and this technique and that technique. But like Peerless Dad, it really like kind of has the essence of martial arts, and it really shows in like how he raises his kids that it's really just about humility and hard work. The sort of lifestyle you get with martial arts. I grew up doing kung fu, and you know, the meaning of kung fu is acquired skill, or it's like achievement through hard work. And that's the awesome thing about it. It's not about being strong, it's about working hard, putting time into stuff, being persistent, and achieving greatness through that. And that's why I get like so inspired and, you know, motivated whenever I read this. And the art as well, you'll notice like the first page, I'll just show it on screen, like the way he draws it, you can really like feel the weight and speed and just everything in the motions. The individual styles of like the masters are really cool as well, and of the main character Jang. He's just more physical. He's just like a general guy who's quite rough and tumble, and he works out, whereas other people work on their inner key. Yeah, it reminds me of the 5 Ancestor books. you know, if you know these books, like, they are awesome, and they're a great read for kids if you have any, you know, like younger siblings or kids. So to put the title into perspective, the reason it's called Peerless Dad is because he's like an unmatched warrior. He's super strong, but the funny thing is he doesn't even know it. Now, I'm not going to give spoilers. Everything I show and talk about is just, you know, in the intro, but his adoptive dad and master was like a proper martial arts master, but he referred to himself as like a wanderer and said that the people in the martial arts world are super strong and never go there and all this, and he kept him like grounded. So when he quits his mercenary job and goes to do martial arts, he like destroys all the tests, and like he's just like confused, like he's like, why are these people so weak and this and that, and it's actually hilarious. And because of this, he gets involved with higher level stuff because they know he's more capable, and he also doesn't know where his style comes from because he didn't go to school. His master was a wanderer, so like there's lots of suspicion on him and everything. So it's got like this undertone of mystery and like these secrets of the martial society, which is what puts his kids and friends in danger, because the more he gets into it and the more he does in that world, the more of a danger they see him as, and kids are a perfect target. So he has to, although he wants to make them scholars and, you know, people who do normal jobs, he has to train them and send them to martial arts school, which is another thing that puts them in danger, because they're in school with all of these martial arts people's kids, and it's super political, and they don't like them because they're honest and strong people like their dad, and they won't bend to people with influence like the other kids would. The characters are all super unique and likable. All of them kind of serve their own purpose in the world, and he like meets them out there like that, but they also mean something to him, which is just something I really love, because a lot of the times those two things in stories just don't meet. There are certain characters who you can tell are just there to move the plot along for the main character, and then there are other times where you just have this random character who has no consequence to the main character that just exists for the sake of world building. But the author of Peerless Dad has done such a great job of creating such an awesome world around the main character. My favorite character has to be the nanny. If anything, you should read it for her. She's the MVP of the story. So I hope I've convinced you to read Peerless Dad. I'm not going to go further into it because I don't want to spoil it for you lot. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it. It really helps out the channel, and share it with other people you think might like it. And lastly, if you want more great story recommendations, make sure to subscribe. See ya.